So in today's video, we're looking at how to research for altcoins. This was voted on by my Patreons, a topic they particularly wanted to see, so we are covering today. If you want to get involved with our community, come and check out the link down below. It's in the pinned comment. So within this video, we're going to look through some of the research methods I use to actually look for new altcoins. This is not an exhaustive list by any means. This will go over some of the ways in which I do my research. And there's no real secret sauce behind this, but hopefully you can get some alpha from this and maybe implement some of these methods into your research. So no magic formulas, hours and hours of research required in order to find those gems. So let's kick this off, but first and foremost, make sure you subscribe if you're new here and you enjoy today's content. So this is a website called Gitcoin. To actually sign yourself up for this one, you need to have an account with GitHub. And this project is a DAO, and it's a DAO based on the Ethereum blockchain for open source development and essentially to promote new projects, individuals, companies, and even the Ethereum Foundation give some funds towards helping get these projects started and off the ground. Oftentimes, these don't always have tokens associated to them, so they may not be new investment opportunities, but they could be building out dApps that will help you better research and understand the crypto landscape. This has been growing quite rapidly over this last year. You've seen the likes of $5.5 million in grants in Q1 and around $4 million in Q2. And I think this is a fantastic website to look for new companies and new methods of research. If you go into the grants page over here, on the left-hand side, what you can do is actually search by different product category. So one I'm particularly interested in right now is the NFT space. I think it's quite overlooked. And I think if you go into these spaces that people aren't really researching that much, you can find some of the undiscovered projects, those hidden gems that could perform exceptionally well. Now within here, I found a couple of projects that look pretty awesome. They've had a little bit of fundraising so far, nothing huge. You will notice that the funding rates are like $100, a few $1,000s. There's not money being thrown around left, right, and center, but it is helping these young projects get started. In particular, I like this project here. So it's a land price comparison across the metaverse. I think this will be a great tool to utilize once this gets built out. Only got $93 of raise so far, but if this starts to gain some traction, this could be a real useful dApp. So this could allow you to identify different land prices on different types of metaverses. Maybe there's one on Decentraland, maybe you're on Sandbox, in particular games, for example. And you'll be able to track that industry and see if you want to make an investment. I think that'll be a pretty cool tool to utilize once built out. And there's another one down here that I came across called PawnSpace. Decentralized NFT collateralized lending protocol. So this project here is going to bring something slightly different to the NFT space by allowing people to collateralize their NFTs and then lend them and then take on, say, a USDC loan or something like that. And so it's like kind of crossover of NFTs and DeFi, which I think is going to be particularly bountiful for projects that actually establish themselves within that industry. They've got a website that's live. They've got a Twitter page with only 67 followers. Decentralized NFT collateralized lending platform coming out on Polygon very soon. And all you have to do here is try and find these ones that look particularly cool to you. Like this one for me could be a winner at some point in the future. So we're going to follow it. And then we're going to turn on all the post notifications as well. So after like 30 minutes of research here, I've found a potentially juicy NFT DeFi crossover. I'm not going to go any further than this today, but what I'm going to do is set those alerts and I'm going to get a pinged up message on my phone every time these guys tweet. And I'll be able to passively follow their developments. I scrolled through their feed earlier and they're talking about a tokenomics model. So this one will have a token attached to it. I'm not saying that this one is going to be good, but there's potential there. I'm happy to follow along and see how this one develops. So that first website here is called Gitcoin. Go to gitcoin.co. You can check out all the various industries that they have on the left-hand side. You could search them by the total amount raised if you want to see where a lot of the money is flowing, that could be a particularly good thing to do. Make sure you do sign yourselves up for an account, otherwise you won't be able to see this page. Now over on Coingecko, if you just go to the coins page here and go on recently added, if you scroll down, you can see all the recently added coins. This can sometimes be a prosperous place to have a little look to see what's fresh and new on Coingecko. They also have a similar page on CoinMarket Cap. If you just go to cryptocurrencies and recently added, and you can get a little bit of alpha on this one. Typically, Coingecko lists them before CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap, I believe, has more users, and so you can kind of front run some of the CoinMarketCap guys by looking on Coingecko first. At this moment in time, the space is still overrun with all these bloody memes. Jeff in space, Godel, a lot of like Doge ripoffs, Shiba Inu ripoffs, that kind of thing going on. So I probably wouldn't spend too much time looking through this on a day like today, but some of them, they maybe will catch your imagination. Something called DeFi coin, maybe we'll just click into that, have a little scan through. Straight off the back and see that the price has tanked today. That does put me off, and there's a sponsored tab up there, so I probably wouldn't look any further on this one. Then I've picked up another one on the BSC network here. This one's up 1200% on the day. That probably puts me off as well. But you get the picture. You can look through here and see if maybe I would go off maybe good names. Typically a good project's going to be able to come up with a good name. The really bad names aren't really going to go anywhere. Baby Shiba Inu, for example, is going to be an absolute crap coin. But scrolling through this list, pulling them up, looking at their websites, checking out the white paper, checking out the team is going to get you ahead of the game, because I'm sure most people aren't going to discover these coins until they do grow. Bear in mind, out of say 100 of these projects, maybe only 1 or 2 will actually have some growth potential. Most of them are probably going to be scams. So this may not be the best use of your time, but it's worth just flicking through, and you're going to get a sense once you do this for a while of what may be good and what is probably just not worth your time looking at. And like on Coingecko, the same thing on CoinMarketCap. And you can go through these and add them to your watch list as well. So if there's particular ones that you think maybe they're going to do well in the future, you can just add them over there and then just take a look at maybe once a week. And what we can also do is just filter by sector, so NFTs, and then maybe we'll do a market cap ranking and pull up the cheapest market cap ones first. And some of the lowest market cap ones would have been absolutely crushed during this market correction. And so you may find that some of these that are just a few $1 million that particularly pumped up to like 20, 30, $40 million during the last bull run have the kind of potential to actually grow to those levels again, and you can make 20 or 30x off some of these. Let's have a look at PGT, Polyant Games governance token. So this one reached a maximum market cap of just over $22 million. So this is over a 10x away from its current market cap. And from the CoinMarketCap overview here, you can click through their socials, their news, their wallets, the number of holders that they've got. And you can see if generally things are trending up, are more people getting involved with this, even whilst the prices are down. You can just get a feel for maybe how this project could perform in the future. Of course, you need to do a deep dive analysis of this, but for a basic overview and flavor of what it does, this is not a bad starting point before you then go and do your deep dives. So what I would do is maybe go through these NFT sectors. If I like the look of some of these, like this one, for example, add it to my watch list, maybe have 10, 15 coins on my watch list after a couple of hours going through all these, and then do a deep dive on these projects at a later time during the week. So next up we have CoinMarket Calendar. Now this one, anyone can actually add an event to. See the add event tab up here. So sometimes with these smaller projects, you can get people from the community just adding random stuff to try and probably pump their bags. So do take this with a pinch of salt, but it's another tool to utilize. And what you can do is you can specify different categories. Maybe you want to look at some of the upcoming AMAs, some of the partnerships that people are going to be establishing. If you click on that one and then search, and then you can see if a project maybe that you don't know much about, but you've heard of, maybe you've heard of Terra Virtua or the OIN token, and you can see what their established partnership is here to bring stablecoin options to the TVK holders. Maybe that's something that sounds cool to you. And so you can click on this, just check that this is legit. There's 400 votes for this and 98% have upvoted it. And then you can create an alert for this event. But what this allows you to do is to see what's coming up on the horizon. If there are big price catalyst movements, so for example, a big mainnet launch, or maybe there's a huge partnership with a really big and established crypto project, these things could be likely to pump the price. So even if you're not looking for a long-term investment, for short-term investments, CoinMarket Calendar can be particularly good. Click on View Coin, and then it shows you all the events that are coming up. So there's just the one event for Terra Virtua right now, so that's not particularly a lot. I remember around Christmas time, we saw that for Coty, they had a ton of stuff coming up towards the end of the year and early January, their mainnet launch, integrations with like Cardano Pay and stuff like this. And the price did pump after that. So there is some proof to the pudding, but this calendar feature just allows you to track a lot of data simply in one place. So again, sign yourselves up, add events to your calendar, and stay on track with different crypto projects. Another area to look at is the social ranking of a coin as well. So this one's particularly useful to see if there's a big community following behind a particular coin. You can see right now the number one trending is Axie Infinity. No surprise here, NFTs are pumping and Axie Infinity pretty much sent the whole NFT market. This was the first one to really start moving along with its SLP token. Now you can see their key metrics such as their Galaxy score. This is a score unique to this website. The highest score I've seen is around the 80 mark, so this is definitely a high rank. This is ranking first out of all 2,200. And on this chart, you can see the blue line is the social volumes, the amount of tweet posts, the amount of social engagement they're getting, and then you have that plotted against the purple line, which is the price action as well. There's sentiment analysis on here as well, but in general, I use this to maybe try and confirm some of my suspicions. So if you can see a project that you like the look of, maybe if you just start to factor all these things together, okay, it's recently added Coingecko. It's then had a series of upcoming events added to CoinMarket Calendar. The social engagements are, say, trending towards the top right. They're moving upwards and upwards, but the price action maybe hasn't taken off as yet. Maybe that would be a good opportunity to get in on a cryptocurrency. Then along the left-hand side, there's a comparison tab. Ideally, you want to sign yourselves up with an account here and you can add more, but you can just scan across the different cryptos you're particularly interested in and then see their performance in terms of their price, maybe their market cap, the volume, or if you've got an account on here, you can look at YouTube volume, news volume, and spam volume. And this is going to give you extra insights into the marketing of this particular crypto. The next area for research is going to be Twitter. This is one that is very much hit and miss. Two reasons for this. Reason one, a lot of it is just pure shilling and paid promotion, so it's really hard to actually tell the wood from the trees. And the second issue with Twitter is actually knowing who you're following, because half the time you might just be following someone who's a day trader, and if they've got totally different interests and intentions to you, you're kind of following the wrong people. Because if you've got someone bear posting about like a 1 hour chart on something and you're looking to invest for, say, a 3 to 6 month term, you're running on totally different tracks there, and you may be put off for a long-term investment by someone's short-term interest in that project. So this guy in particular is one I'm following, called Kyle McLean. This guy to me is kind of a no BS investor, puts out some very good calls. He's in some cryptocurrencies that I don't particularly like, which is fair enough, each to their own. But typically he's talking about projects with good fundamentals. And from what I can tell is not a paid shill. Seems very honest about his work and his research. So I do like that within here. But in terms of Twitter in general, you are going to see a lot of people just trying to sell you their book. Essentially, everyone's trying to do that, though, in this industry. We cover the projects that I'm in on this channel, because obviously it would make no sense to do anything other than that. But it's trying to weed out who are the guys who are just doing it for straight up cash from the projects and ones who have actually bought in. And then when you find people that you can kind of rely on their research and lean on them a little bit, you can then maybe follow some of the cash tags behind some of these projects and then do a bit more of a deep dive yourself and see what other people are saying. So this project was getting quite a lot of heat on the timeline here. So clicking into the cash tag, you can see all the top comments about this particular project and just try and see who's trying to pump it. Are these guys legit? Have they got a good track record? And maybe you can do some research from there once it kind of passes the Twitter sniff test. We also have Telegram. This is a place where you can find these kind of like gem hunting rooms where people are sometimes actually legit trying to find some gems. Sometimes they're just trying to shill you their bags. But again, you try and find the chats that have legit people in there, having sensible conversations, not always just pure moon talk. And sometimes you can get a little bit of alpha from these and discover some projects very early on. This one called the Gem Hunters, for me, is pretty decent, but all of these kind of things require you to do more research than just reading, okay, these guys are pumping X coin, let's just go and buy that. That is the one way to definitely get wrecked, because 9 times out of 10, the project probably won't perform. But you want to find that 1 time out of 10 when that is a really undervalued project and has great potential to absolutely fly. So this all requires you to put the hours in, read the white papers, look at tokenomics, look at the teams, and then make a judgment call as to whether you want to invest. Now moving on to like my favorite thing to do in terms of picking up new information, it's listening to podcasts and longer form chats with project leads. So Blockchain Brad from Australia, this guy, I should be subscribed, we'll just subscribe here. He has some really, really good informative chats with project teams, and he really pushes them on things such as token vesting, seed round investing, that kind of stuff, asks hard questions. And from this, you can actually get a good vibe around, is this project lead in it for the money? Are they actually able to back up what they're saying? By putting people under the spotlight like this, you can get a good feel for their character. And for me, this kind of gut feel is something that I usually go with, because I would say typically I'm a decent judge of character and I can tell when people are lying. And so these longer form podcasts and interviews are really good for digging out additional information that your average person who's just reading what's given on Medium, on a white paper on the website, they're never going to find out some of this extra info. So Blockchain Brad is definitely one I like to listen to. He discovers things early on or gets projects on before launches, which is awesome. Over on the Bankless podcast, these guys are pretty much ETH maxis, and what you're going to get on here is some DeFi plays, some new NFT stuff starting to come onto their show as well, but another longer form podcast style that you can just plug in, go for a walk, enjoy the environment, but also learn at the same time. So Bankless is another one I like listening to. And then thirdly here, Box Mining as well. There's some really good interviews with early stage companies, sometimes again before they actually launch their tokens. And so if you listen to these variety of different people, you see what projects are cropping up on these kind of podcasts, you can get an idea for what is coming down the line. So oftentimes they're going to be talking about the newest trends. So for example, he had a few NFT guys on here recently before the NFT boom. So maybe you can start to see when these big accounts start to cover certain topics. I think it's kind of like this is the marketing hub of the whole of the crypto space. If you've got a guy with 250K subs and then maybe a few others with 50, 60K subs as well, all covering similar narratives at the same time, this is how narratives develop. So again, another channel worth checking out and just jumping into from time to time and checking out the longer form stuff to see what's going on and to pick up on those new projects before everyone knows about them. Then we have the kind of VC and research arm. So this is Delphi Digital. Now these guys have their own podcast, which is pretty good. They also have their own research arm. And recently they put out research pieces on Axie, just as Axie absolutely flew up in terms of price and your kind of social rankings. It probably wasn't on anyone's radar before last month, and now it's everywhere. These guys put out an informational piece or a research piece to their members around the time that it started to go up. So they possibly got big investors behind them. So this is a way you can maybe get ahead of the crowd, maybe sign up and pay for the subscription. It's not stupidly expensive, I think like $500 per year. But if you're going to get good research reports and get ahead of the crowd, maybe that's something you'll want to do. So that is Delphi Digital. They covered Axie and also Alpha Finance very recently, and both took off. A definite trend there for them pumping some of these coins. Then we have Defiance Capital. This is kind of the DeFi arm of Three Arrows Capital, one of the biggest VC firms in the industry. You can see some of their investments here, the likes of Aave, Synthetics, Sushi. just to name a few, and they show you their portfolio. So if you want to check out some of what the best VC funds are investing in, you can of course go ahead and do that. Of course, do your own research. Not all of their projects do particularly well, but most of them do pretty damn good. And then last but not least, utilizing the actual blockchain to see what big holders have got in their wallets. So what I did here was searched for Chainlink up here, went into the Chainlink top holders and found someone holding over $27 million worth of Link tokens. So what you can do is you can go into their wallets and then see exactly what they've got. So this guy actually has 42,000 Ethereum worth over $85 million, and then tokens to the value of $500 million. You can then see the transactions this person's actually done. So over the last 3 days, he withdrew 1,500 Ethereum from Binance. And you can generally just pick through the wallet here and see what he's holding. So he's holding some BEST token. I don't even know what that is. So maybe that is one that I'll go and research now, because if this guy's got $353 million in it, it probably is not going to be a crap coin, especially when you consider the rest of his account here. He's got a load of chilies. This one is performing well in the NFT sector. We got a load of Chainlink tokens, a load of Uniswap, some Tether, USDC, a load of Aave, BAT, Omise Go, synthetics. You get the picture. You can see exactly what this person's got in their ERC20 wallet. And if you then sign in over here, you can then press the heart up here, add the address to your watch list. Give them a label. So maybe I'll put Chainlink Whale, and then I can turn on notifications every time this guy does a transfer. I can then see exactly in real time what this person is doing, and maybe this is a good way to understand when things are heating up again, or maybe when they're going a bit more risk off. It looks to me though that right now this person's actually very much heavily in their altcoins. $10 million worth of stables in here, but over $400 million worth of alts. So what you can do is you can research for the latest, the newest projects, look at their social rankings, look if they're trending on Twitter, look if they've been covered by a VC firm, if they've got a longer form podcast. All of these things are just a boiling pot of information that you can stir up and try and generate a thesis upon. And then once you've maybe generated your thesis and you want to invest, maybe you can then go and check it with your community, post your ideas up and see if other people agree. So this is something I like to do. If it passes my sniff test, post it to the community and see what other people think. So again, come and check out my Patreon, a link down below if you want to get involved with my community here. And do make sure you subscribe if you are new to the channel. I hope this gave you a good intro into the ways in which I do some research around my altcoins, what I like to look at, and the different ways I try to consume a variety of data, from on-chain analytics to word of mouth to written form, and utilizing the community. But that is all for today's episode. Drop any comments, questions, how you research down below, and let's have a little look at what you guys think. Thank you and goodbye.